We're now going to look at how to determine the type of mapping. Remember, there are three types of mapping. You have one-to-one, many-to-one, and one-to-many. Only two of them are functions. If your mapping is one-to-one or many-to-one, it's a function. If your mapping's one-to-many, it's not a function. So I've got four mappings on the board and we've got a graph for each one. You need a graph to figure out which type of mapping you're dealing with. Now, I think the easiest thing to do is start with a one-to-many and decide, is your mapping one-to-many or not? Then move on to many-to-one, then move to one-to-one. To see what I'm talking about, let's put it into practice. We'll start with this mapping down here. We already have a graph for it on the boards. So the question is this mapping one-to-many? That means, does one x value map to many y's? Just from looking on the graph, some of you may be able to see whether it is a one-to-many or not. But if you can't, what you can do is grab a ruler, hold it vertically against the graph, and then sweep across the x-axis, like this. Here's my ruler. I'm just going to move across the x-axis. And I'm looking for any point where my ruler crosses the graph, or crosses the curve, twice. I think you can clearly see here. As soon as I get to where the curve is defined, my ruler is crossing the curve at 2 points. And that means that there's one x value mapping to two y values. So this is a one-to-many mapping. Therefore, it's not a function because only the top two are regarded as functions. Okay. On to the next one. Here's the mapping. Again, we're going to start with one-to-many, ask ourselves, is it this? And then we'll move up. Okay. So, does one x value map to many y's? You might be able to see. If not, use your ruler. Hold your ruler vertically and then sweep across the curve, and you're looking for any point where your ruler crosses the curve twice. So here we go. I'm coming across. Okay, now this x value is only going to one y. Yep, it's only crossing the curve once, crossing the curve once, crossing the curve once, crossing the curve once. It only ever crosses the curve once. So each x value is only mapping to one y. That means it's not one-to-many. Next up, is it many-to-one? And that means, are there many x values going to one y value at any point? Just from looking at the graph, again, I think it can be difficult to figure out if it's many-to-one or not. So you can do the same thing. You can take your ruler, but this time, hold it horizontally and sweep up the y-axis. And you're looking for any point where your ruler crosses the curve twice. Here we go. So up we go, up we go, up we go, up we go. Oh, I'm at this point here, and I can see clearly my ruler is crossing the curve twice. So that means there's two x values, one up here and one over here, and they both map to the same y. Because my ruler crosses the curve twice, this is a many-to-one. Is it a function? Yes. Many to one mappings are functions. Okay. Alright, on to the next function, 4 over x plus 3. There's the curve. Right. First question, is it one to many? Grab your ruler and you're asking yourself, is my ruler crossing the curve twice? So it's crossing it once there, it's crossing it once, crossing it once, crossing it once, crossing it once. My curve only ever crosses it once. So each x value is only mapping to one y. Okay, it's not that. Next up, is it many to one? Are there many x values going to one y? Not sure. So I'm going to take my ruler, hold it horizontally and sweep up the curve. And I'm looking for anywhere where it crosses twice. So it's crossing once there. Crossing once, crossing once, crossing once, crossing once. It only ever crosses once. It's not many to one either. Therefore, it's a one-to-one function. Sorry, yeah, and it is a function. Alright, and finally, our last one, it's probably the easiest. Is it one to many? Let's have a quick look. Vertical ruler going across. Only ever crosses the curve once. It's not one to many. Is it many to one? Only ever crosses once. No, it's not many to one. This is also a one-to-one function. And that's how you can determine the type of mapping and if it's a function or not.